This little pepper plant is almost a year old. It's been through a South Texas winter. It has been cut back to almost nothing, allowed to regrow. I have harvested dozens of fruit off of this plant, and for the last 2 months, I haven't even watered it. I've just been waiting for it to die. But as you can see, this little plant grown in my own potting soil after all this time and the last 2 months of neglect, still bearing fruit. Let me show you how to reuse your old potting soil to make it even better than it was than when you first purchased it. Hi everyone. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. If you're new to my channel, my name is Riley. Welcome to my garden, and today we're talking about how to reuse potting soil. Step 1 of this process, remove the mulch from the top of your container. Now in container gardening, it's critical that we keep the moisture in the container. So mulch is a very important part of that process, but we don't want that mulch going into our recycled potting soil. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it off the top of this soil, put it in another container, and what we're going to see is we're going to see the stem and the root system, or at least the stem of the plant that was growing in this container. And in this case, this was another pepper plant that I cut off before the video. So I've got all this mulch off. I've got it in another container. You can reuse your mulch. A lot of times what I do with my mulch is I add it to my compost pile as a brown layer. So I'll mow my lawn, I'll add my lawn clippings to my compost pile, and then I'll add some of this old mulch on top of it. That's up to you. The next step in this process is we need to sift this soil to get the bigger chunks in the root ball out of this soil so that we can replenish it and reuse it. When you're sifting your old soil, you could just take this container, dump it into a bigger container, shake out that root ball as best you can, and then throw that root ball and stem into your compost bin. I like to pass mine through a compost sifter like this, just in case I have bigger chunks of mulch that I missed when I was pulling it out by hand. And if you're interested in how to make a compost sifter like this, I'll leave a link of a video I did on that in the video description. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen this material up, this potting soil up. I'm going to drop it over my compost sifter. Pull that root out. And I'm just going to sift that down in. I'll throw that root ball into my compost bin. I'm going to continue to sift this all out. And then when I'm done with that, we'll start mixing it up to make it better than new. Well, we have this all sifted out, and there were quite a few big chunks of material that I pulled out, just added to my compost pile. This material looks great, well sifted, and the next step in our process is we're going to mix it in a 5-gallon bucket. 75% old soil to 25% new compost. Now, if you don't have your own homemade compost, the next best thing that you can use that I can suggest is black cow composted cow manure, because it's widely available. I've used it in the past as a substitute, and it's quite a good substitute for homemade compost. However, it's going to be very important that if you do use black cow composted cow manure, you follow step 4. So stick around. I'm just going to shovel into this container. 5-gallon container works best when mixing up my potting soil. I'm just going to shovel in 3/4 of this into this container. Then we're going to sift out another 1/4 5-gallon bucket of my homemade compost into there, and then we'll move right along to step 4. All right, Bella, no more barking at the chickens. The only way I could get her to stop was to put her in the compost sifter. If you don't yet make your own compost, it's one of the best things that you can do as a gardener, and I can't recommend it. I just can't recommend it more. It is such a gratifying experience to make your own food for your soil and your garden. I've done a couple videos on this already, so if you are interested in making your own compost, please check those videos out. It is a very, very rewarding process. So we're done sifting. We're going to add 25% to this container of my homemade compost. We'll fill it right to the top. There we go. All right, fourth and final step coming up. Stick around for that. We're going to move this into a bigger container, add one more ingredient, and then we're ready to plant. Okay, step 4 is mix it up. We're going to take our 5-gallon bucket, dump it into a bigger container, and we are going to add 1/2 cup of a balanced organic fertilizer. This can be 222, 444, anything balanced and organic. Follow the manufacturer's instructions on the back for containers. And this is a 444 from Down to Earth. I am going to add 1/2 cup to this mix. I am going to mix this all in, and I am going to then be ready to plant it. Now, if you are not using homemade compost, very, very important that you're adding that balanced fertilizer. Instructions on the fertilizer say you may have to go back in every few months and add a teaspoon to the top of your soil and mix it into the top inch. I will tell you that with my homemade potting soil I made last year, I did not feed it at all. I just let those plants go. And like you saw, that the peppers lasted almost a year. So we're just going to mix this up, and then we're going to be ready to plant. I have the same variety of hybrid pepper that's ready over on my patio in a container, a small 3-inch square container, ready to be transplanted. We're going to be growing that in this soil this year, and we're going to be checking in on that every few weeks in videos and see how that's doing, so stick around for that. Speaking of that, if you're not a subscriber and you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button and don't forget to ring that bell so you'll be notified next time we put out a new video. 4 steps to reusing old potting soil to make it even better than new. Number 1, remove the mulch off the top. You don't want that mulch going into your recycled potting soil. Number 2, sift that potting soil out. Get all the big chunks out of there. Get that into your compost bin. Number 3, mix up 3/4 of your sifted potting soil with 1/4 of your homemade compost. If you don't have homemade compost, I can suggest black cow composted cow manure, but you're also going to want to put that through a sifter before you put it into your potting soil. And finally, get some balanced organic vegetable fertilizer, 222, 444. Follow the manufacturer's instructions on the back of that. For this down-to-earth 444 fertilizer we used, we mixed in 1/2 cup. This soil is ready to go to be good for another year of gardening. My name is Riley. Thank you for watching.